It's about 12 minutes to 6 in the morning, and I'm starting this cardio. I don't even feel like doing this shit. I really do. For a while, I had stopped because it's one of those things that I really don't like doing. However, I realize more often than not in life is the shit that we don't want to do that we really need to do, because it's going to provide us with a degree of benefit, especially this cardio shit. As you age and get older, you can do resistance training to help build your skeletal muscles. You have to do brain exercises to help keep your brain functioning properly. And in order to keep your organs running smoothly and your heart and lungs performing the things that they should perform in the ways they should perform, you gotta perform this exercise. So, I'm gonna do it. One, because I like breathing easily. Two, I don't want a pot belly. I think that's one of the most disgusting things on the planet. Big ass gut hanging over your belt. I ain't into that type of shit. I want to be as fit as I can, as flexible as I can be, and I want to function optimally. Can't do any of those things without performing certain protocols. And this is the one for me this morning. February 17th, 2021. Bird's been dead. So she left her body about 2 days ago. And in that time, I've given a large degree of thought to her. Didn't really mull over specific times we hung out and spent together. But I created a montage in my mind of the different experiences I shared with her. Even though I haven't seen her, or didn't see her, for about 16 years. That's how long I've been out this motherfucker. She still remains one of my favorite people on the planet. Got a lot of shit to do today. After I get this cardio in, I'm gonna go do the second thing that I don't like doing more than anything else. That's eating food. Seems to me like it takes too much time. I think I created negative neuroassociations to the consumption of nutrients as a direct result of running the street of most of my life and being confined, where I had to learn initially how to do with little. Until I learned the parameters of the institution I was in, made my moves, and I was thriving. But I've never, from the time I can remember, been someone who was big on eating, which is ironic because the food that we consume, it directly impacts the health and appearance of our physiology. Nevertheless, when I'm ever in a training mode, I'm trying to change my body, I force myself to do the shit that I think I don't want to do. This being one of them. The sun should be coming up shortly. After I do this and eat, I'm going to get my day underway. Got a book in the mail yesterday. Sanjay Gupta, You Can Heal Your Brain. I'm going to eat that. I'm going to eat that. I think I'm going to start keeping a video library, or journal, if you will. Primarily because I've been keeping written journals for years and years. And I always seem to lose them. Like even now, I have about, no lie, over 50 journals scattered around my house that I have to collect and compile. It's going to be a major task. I heard old Tony Robbins say once, if your life worth living, it's worth recording. I believe that. It's like I know this life I have is worth living. So, start keeping my video journal that way. I have the videos. They'll all be contained in one place and will make for easier correlation. Is that even a word, collation? I know collate is, but I don't know. But it'll make for easier correlation over the course of time. I don't know how long each individual video is going to be. I think it's primarily going to depend on what I'm doing, the mood I'm in, as well as the things that have transpired throughout the course of the day. I've been thinking more and more about developing these videos on the topic of reintegration. I think the first video should be one on recidivism. I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and he agreed that reintegration cannot be successful. The person has a recidivist mind state. That begs the question, what is a recidivist mind state? Recidivist mind state is when you allow your past conditionings that were counterproductive and negative to govern your current state upon release from an institution. You see, from the time we're born, we are being programmed. We are being programmed as to what we should think, how we should walk, what we should feel. And initially, this programming comes from our parents, then from our extended family members and our friends, the school system, whatever environment we find ourselves in. And in most urban environments, the programming based on how I feel about it or how I experienced it. It's about suppression and survival. You're programmed to suppress your feelings, push them down. Don't cry, be tough, shut up, should be seen and not heard. Not only in homes, but in the educational system as well. And in my case, that programming took me right to the place where it takes most people that grow up in urban environments. It took me right to the street, where survival, the acquisition of materialistic possessions to make you appear to stand in with the rest of your quote-unquote peers takes precedence. So you learn certain habits, like how to steal, how to rob, how to read people, how to manipulate situations to your advantage, and how to exact retributional violence on all those that challenge you or prevent you from accomplishing those programmed goals. And as fate would have it, because of the way the judicial system is structured, and because of the tentacles of slavery and Jim Crow, caught up in the criminal justice system doing time. Now, more often than not, when you're doing time, for the vast majority of people, they know there's going to be a release date. They know they're going to potentially get parole. You got some that'll never get parole. But then you got some that get parole in a few years. And after they do the time, whether it's a year, 5 years, 8 years, 15 years, and based on what they've been doing while they were doing the time, more often than not, people come home saying, I want to do the right thing. They'll write these sweet letters to their family. They'll say what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. As soon as they get out, within 60 to 90 days, 6 months, the average person is locked the fuck back up. For either a new offense or for violating their conditions of parole. For most, this is a never-ending cycle. Take my fucking self, for example. I am 57 years old. And close to half my life has been spent behind the walls of one prison or another. And before that, living in the street. Nevertheless, get out, intentions to do the correct thing. But, more often than not, wind up, locked back up. And the reason for this, I've discovered in relation to me, which is the reason I have now been home 11 years, because they came out here and kidnapped me in 2009. Made me go back and do a year on parole violation, then released me out here. So I actually came out here in 2005. I saw my whole life was prison, street, back to the activities, and then prison again. I had a recidivist mind state. I needed to break that shit. So I decided to just leave. I left, got on a bus, headed out to Arizona where my sister was at. And I've been out here ever since. Save for that year that they took me back to Jersey. Now, with the recidivist mind state, it is because when we're doing our time, even those of us that programmed for the majority of our time, we don't take into consideration, and neither is it adequately explained or taught in any rehabilitative program concerning neural associations, concentric zones, and most importantly, mastery of the body. And because these things aren't taught, and because so many of us are unaware of them, we have the recidivist mind state. Here's the concentric zone theory. We initially start out in what's called a concentric zone, a circular space where we grow and develop and our time is spent. Those of us that grew up in urban environments, grew up in ghettos, we've been conditioned and programmed to the activities that go on in ghettos. And when you perform certain activities long enough, you become used to them, you become accustomed. Hence the reason why a young cat could just peel a cap on a motherfucker and then just go smoke a blunt like it ain't nothing. Because that's how they've been programmed. Nevertheless, when they get locked up, go in the facility, and are confined, they adjust and adapt to the rules and regulations, whatever prison that they may be in. Because if you don't adapt, the motherfucking crackers will make sure you adapt. For the motherfuckers that you populated with, if you don't know how to get in where you fit in, they'll make sure you adapt or you're dead. So, most people, they conform to the incarcerational period by just adapting to the minimal rules and just using their time to play sports, watch TV, read exploitative material. And when they get out, and going to church or the masjid, because religion is one of the umbrellas people will run under when they're locked up. Either they'll get in with a clique just so that they could be safe. Nevertheless, a person gets released, all intentions to do the correct thing, is on this regimented path that has been established in whatever institution they've been in. As soon as they get out, they leave the new concentric zone and are shuttled right back to the environment that they came from. And just like a Pavlovian dog, in no time at all. The environment and the resistance to community assistance of people that have done time compels them to go right back into the previous behavior that got them locked up. Now, do they want to be locked up? No. But because the neural associations have been established, and because they are in that bubble, that concentric zone, they just go with the flow. Wind up, dead, lock back up. It's a perpetual cycle. It continues to go. I know, because I was a hamster on a wheel over half of my life. But after I learned about the concentric zones, and I realized I had a recidivist mind state, and I also realized, based on how I did my bids, because I did my time programming, I was reading everything I could get my hands on. When the library was open, I was in the library. When the school was open, I was in the school. When the law library was open, I was in the law library. At night, they did snap lock or lock in. I was under my little light with my books, or learning how to type, or learning about the different areas of my bodies, the musculature, the bones, and all that shit. And I still came home and fucked up a number of times. But after I came to this concentric zone realization, after I came to this recidivist mind state realization, I began to utilize all the tools I had acquired over all the time I spent in prison, all the time I spent in the streets, to change my way of thinking. Don't get me wrong, that slimy motherfucker, he's still in here. But here's the difference. I now have control over him. Just like that person, that motherfucker, who's focused on development of his mind and body. He in here. But I have control over him as well. Because with the realization that I had a recidivist mind state, I began to engage in actions to change that mind state. With the full awareness that I'd still remember, because we don't forget our experiences. We suppress them, we press them to the back of our mind, but they never leave us. So everything that we've gone through is the sum total of who we are today. How your body looks is a direct result of how you take care of it. The lifestyle you lead is a direct result of the decisions that you make. But with this recidivist mind state, it keeps us shackled. Shackled to the past, shackled to the criminal justice system, shackled to behavior that's not conducive to our overall growth and development. So I think that this recidivist mind state is the first thing that needs to be understood before anyone can adequately take advantage of the system, how it's structured, and have a successful reintegration back into society, which is still a prison in and of itself. Because we're all doing time. All of us. A lot of people think they're free. That's a fallacious thought. How could you be free when you're trapped on a rock, spinning in the middle of space, and virtually everything you say or do is recorded and under surveillance? How could you consider yourself free when you have to totally conform to the rules and regulations that's handed down by people who don't have your best interests at heart? How can you consider yourself free when you can't even muster up the conscious energy to perform the mundane, unenjoyable tasks that are required to help keep you moving forward? You can't. So the recidivist mind state is when one allows themselves to hold on to thought patterns that don't really serve them, and those who think that they could just get away with shit. Everything has consequences. May not catch up with you the first time. Laws of nature dictate. Eventually, should have catch up with you. If it don't send you to prison, it may make you wind up 6 feet under, or lose connections with those you think you love and care about. But everybody's locked up. If you're on this planet, you're doing time. It's just how you're doing your time. So, one of the first things I did to help reshape my thinking, to knock that recidivist monkey off of my shoulder, was I compelled myself to submit to processes which have been proven to assist one in advancing. Now, those motherfuckers don't have to be as radical as I got with it. Meaning, just getting up and going to the other side of the country, or taking yourself through a hard state of deprivation. To acquire a higher level of discipline. You don't have to be that radical. But you do have to realize, especially if you're in and out of prison, the only common denominator in that equation is you. Therefore, some things in you have to be altered to enable you to progress. I don't like using the word change, because change is inevitable. You're going to change whether you want to or not, because this linear thing we call time keeps on chugging. The earth keeps on spinning, and you're going to get old whether you want to or not, because if you live long enough, it's a direct byproduct. So, change the recidivist mind state requires you being willing to being open to engaging in some different types of actions. Whether it means going to anger management, whether it means getting parole somewhere else, whether it means when you get home out of whatever pen you've been in, limiting access to you and getting connected to the community-based programs that are designed to help you. And most importantly, being willing to make time to engage in physical activity that's going to help to release the stress. It's going to help keep your biochemistry regulated properly. And that's going to help you have the energy for the hard work ahead. Because, make no mistake about this shit, changing, progression of, and the evolution of who you are as a person, it's very painful. And at times it's very dark. But I can tell you this one thing. Shit's worth it. Shit's worth it. Alright, been on this treadmill 35 minutes. Made the decision to start my video journey. Now, I gotta start logging my journal onto my Converted Thugs page. I've been planning on doing videos for a long time. And I have made a number of excuses as to why I shouldn't, which, in my mind at the time, seemed valid. One was like, okay, I haven't been out long enough. Two, I haven't established myself. So once I had been out long enough, I had established myself, built myself, going through the process. Then it was, I got too many clients. I got relationship issues to deal with. I got a house to take care of. Because the longer you stay out, the harder you work, you don't get in a relationship, which brings a whole nother level of existence to the thing. You will acquire things. You will get a house. You own your own home. It don't take you forever to buy a house. You're gonna have vehicles. You're gonna have a career. Whole lot of things are gonna happen. The harder you work. But these excuses, like, man, fuck video. I need to get about doing what I need to do. I read all these books. I went to all these seminars. I done did all this time. I just gotta grind. But there's philosophy that tells us you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. So, while I'm doing my treadmill walks, I make these videos. Or probably at different times of the day, I'll make the videos. But the one thing that needs to be extracted from this is a recidivist mind state. People think of recidivism going back to prison, going back to the mental institution. No, because even when they let you out from behind the walls of the prison, if your mind state is that of a recidivist, you're going to remain in prison, even when you're on the streets. that being said, have a good day. I know I damn sure am.